Good, what is it, Wednesday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is January 4th, 2016, and this is our
17.
role play. 2017, thank you. Bankers call this Checkuary. For a month or two, everybody still puts last year's dates on their checks, if anybody still writes checks. Anyway, yeah, January 4th, 2017, and this is role play call number 15. For those of you that are new to this call, I'm assuming many of you are on our weekly mastermind call. The weekly mastermind call is really an open forum. You know, good, the bad, the ugly, ask questions, input, etc. This is designed to be a little bit more of a role play call. And what we really want are questions that you have about communicating with the people, places that you're getting stuck in the conversation, you know, issues you're coming across, objections you're encountering. And so this is kind of like Jeopardy. For the purpose of this call only, like Jeopardy, you have to put it in the form of a question. If you have a question today, let's put it in the form of a role play. And you don't have to be the agent. Our brave leader, Chad, will be the agent. So we do have one person in the queue already. Chad, any news or information you want to share with the group? You want to go over mastery real quick before we get started?
Yes, and I accidentally sent out that email wrong today, too. Probate January Mastery is next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Each of the sessions start at 2 p.m. Eastern. You've actually got a couple of emails today where you can sign up, or you can go to alltheleads.com under the probate system, education and training, and you can sign up there. And also, I think I put a link in Facebook. So lots of ways to get signed up. Mastery is, you know, as it pertains to this call, session 3 of Mastery is really our deepest dive into, we take about 90 minutes and dissect the initial conversation and role play through every single objection that we hear, kind of an exhaustive list, and then we walk through the listing appointment from A to Z. So that's just one of the 3 sessions, but it's a much deeper dive than what we can accomplish on this call. So if you feel like you need some help, you know, getting started prospecting, session 3 is pretty valuable. So you might want to look into Mastery.
I get asked a lot, you know, do I have to take Mastery before I get started? And I always tell the agents, absolutely not. When you're calling the executors, you're essentially reaching out to a motivated absentee owner. They have a probate attorney that handles, you know, all the legal aspects of it. Having said that, for you high analyticals that really want to understand the process, or if you have any desire to actually prospect the attorneys, then I think Mastery is a must. And looking at our numbers, guys, we find that the agents that take Mastery are about 70% more likely to still be part of the program a year later. So there is some really good training and really good information there. It's nothing you have to get started, but we highly recommend that everybody take it eventually. All right, having said that, we do have one person in the queue, and there's about 30-some, maybe 40 people on the call, even more. It looks like closer to 50. So please participate. Hit *6 and hit 1, and you don't have to be the agent. You can be the obnoxious seller. You can be the difficult seller, and Chad will handle the role play part of it. So let's go ahead and unmute the first person. We have someone else in the queue now. That's great. Again, *6 and hit 1. We want 5 or 6 participants in the 30 minutes we're going to spend today. All right, phone number ending in 3705, you're up. 916 area code. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir. You're unmuted. Thank you for participating.
You're welcome.
So what can we help you with? What do you have a particular role play you'd like to do with Chad?
Who, me?
Yes, sir.
No, I've just been getting your emails all the time, but it's probate.
Okay. All right.
I'm just checking you guys out, really.
No, all right, not a problem then. Thank you. We'll go to the next person in the queue. Phone number
That's what we
ending
call a false objection.
Yeah, that's an easy objection. I don't have one. Phone number ending in 3466. You're up.
Hi, my name's Amber Rogers. How are you?
Great. Thank you for coming on, Amber.
Awesome. Well, I just signed up for the mastery. I actually was referred to you guys after listening. Well, I listened to the Ken and Julie Harris coaching call about all the leads, and I was impressed with what you do. But I actually have a question if I'm able to ask. I don't know if it's the right time.
Well, go ahead, and we'll try to put it in the form of a role play if we can. What's the question?
Excellent. Yes, it would be. Okay, so I have a listing right now. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I have a listing right now, and they had already gone through probate, and then I guess one of the so the person died. I'm so new at this, I don't know the wording. The person died that owned the home, and she had willed part of it to her son, and apparently part of it to her former roommate, who is another older lady. So her former roommate is the one that hired me to list the home, and then her son agreed, and so I listed it. It's under contract, whatever. Now the older lady, old roommate, kind of a wackadoodle, is coming back and saying, I don't agree with him on the split of the profit, and it's already paid off, so that makes it clean and easy. But apparently they had a verbal, because she took him to court, and then they had a verbal agreement to split 60-40, whatever the proceeds were of the condo, and he's very nice, and she's just kind of wacky, but now she wants to pull back and say, well, I'm not going to, I got them both to sign, so we are under contract, but she's trying to have me intervene and get with him and say, no, she wants 70% now. And so I kind of was the bearer of the bad news, and I played it like I'm just relaying this, and you guys can duke it out. But do you guys ever find that that's a drama situation? I'm sure.
Very less than 1%.
And the
less
law.
than 1%. Yeah, less than 1% of the time, Amber. That's really.
Oh,
I mean, sure.
Okay,
it happens, but that's kind of a rare exception. Chad, that might be a good opportunity. That might be a good opportunity to role play with Amber. Your initial conversation where you try to drag that information out, or do you have a Chad? You want to?
Well, it sounds like so.
Go ahead.
What I hear is they change the rules midstream. So once the deal is under contract, the most difficult part of this is you've got a verbal agreement, probably without witnesses, or it wouldn't actually stand in court if it were to make it that far. One of the things that we teach you guys is to surround yourself by a great team. And one of the key team members that I always talk about is a really, really solid closing attorney or a title company with a really, really solid attorney on retainer. This is why. So I've hit problems like this where I did as much as I could, being proactive, asking good questions, getting people to kind of show me the whole picture. But every once in a while, you'll get a curveball, or you'll get blindsided by somebody who gets greedy mid-process. So my advice here would be get your best closing attorney, and hopefully that's the one you already have the file with. And the rule that I always give everybody is find an attorney who can be a lamb or a lion, and you need a lion right now. So you need to write a big, roaring legal letter that says you have no leg to stand on, but you've already signed a contract that you have an obligation to live up to. So take what the will said you're going to get and move on. And that's what she needs to hear. And if I don't know if you want to role play that. If you want, that's probably going to be the toughest part of the toughest conversation.
I don't mind saying. I have no problem saying that. I just was curious as to because I've got a closing attorney, and I've worked with them before, and the buyer agent wanted her attorney. So, okay, great. We're using Wiseman Nowak. They're great. They're huge, whatever. And I know the attorney there that's in charge, but that's not who's closing, and he doesn't do probate. So now I'm wondering if maybe I should have specified that it should be a probate attorney that closes.
No, and that's not. A lot of people have that misconception. So your closing attorney doesn't necessarily have to be a probate attorney. They will know what probate is. They will have studied it in law school. So they'll have a deep enough understanding. What the issue here is not about probate, it's about contracts. So if the will was validated in a court, then that is the standing document that says this is what this person is due. So if you can get a copy of the will to that attorney, and that attorney, if the verbal agreement had no witnesses, it's her word against his, then it's that's to be interpreted by the court, not me. But it's probably not going to be determined as a contract when you have a written, validated will that clearly states what the disbursements were. So chances are better than not that her getting a registered letter from an attorney saying, here's what this means and here's what your obligations are per the contract, will kind of break the log jam and you can move forward.
I think I also need to ask, since the son is the rational one, I need to ask him if there was any, because they both made it sound like they just agreed verbally to split it, because she tried to sue him later for $10,000, and now she's trying to say she's owed more and after the fact. So I guess my question process-wise is, so it would have already been validated and the split would have already been determined prior to today. It wasn't verbal. It would have already been written out. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, what you said is that she named both parties in the will. So if it cleared the probate process and the death was testate, meaning with a will.
Yeah, it was 50.
Then yes, the court validated that. Everybody who was involved was notified and had a chance to object. And if nobody objected, then that is the document.
Got it. Okay. Sorry, I sound kind of silly right now.
It's okay. Thank you, Amber.
Perfect.
I don't want to cut you off. We want to try to
keep
it. Oh, you're very welcome. We have a couple other people, and we want to try to get a couple role plays in. So
Take care.
Thank you. All right. Next up, phone number ending in 2828. You're up.
Hi, this is Jennifer from Jacksonville.
Hey, Jennifer.
Hi. My question is, a lot of times when you call, you don't get somebody. So I have the messages that I've been leaving that work most of the time. But if somebody does answer, the first thing they usually say is, who exactly are you and how'd you get my information? So what's the best way of actually starting that initial conversation when you first
Wonderful.
That's
pick
up the phone for the very first time?
Absolutely. Ring, call Chad and role
play
that with Chad.
Oh, so 1 second.
Or no, Chad, you're going to call her.
So Jennifer, what I learned here to really address all those questions up front was what I call the Probate USP, or your unique selling proposition. So I always try to flesh out who I am, how I got their information, what unique value I can provide to them, and then I'm always going to end on a question so I can kind of reset their mental state. So you need to roll those 4 things into a fluid statement, and all of ours really should be different. It's not anything that we script, because you're going to be doing this for a different reason than I am. You're going to have different team members than I will. So, but those are the points. Who am I? How did I get your information? What can I do for you? And let me ask you a question. And usually that's real estate related.
And Chad, would you call her and practice that, please?
Sure. Ring.
Hello?
Hi, I'm trying to reach Jennifer Smith.
This is she. Who is this?
Hey, Jennifer. My name's Chad Corbett. I'm actually a real estate professional here in Roanoke, and I got your information because we have a team here locally that we specialize in helping people who are in the probate process. And as part of that, we go to the courthouse and pull records. And I noticed that you were the executor of an estate. So I was just calling to introduce myself, kind of help you understand what it is we do. It's broader than real estate, but some of the things, from getting homes sold quickly to one of our cash investors to getting them fixed up and sold for top dollar, and just about everything in between that you can imagine, we're equipped kind of in-house to handle that. Is there any real estate in the estate you guys could use some help with?
There is, and I've been getting a lot of calls from different people.
Okay. Well, yeah, are most of them investors?
I'm not sure. They've been leaving messages, and I honestly haven't talked to any of them on the phone.
Okay. Well, I think what you'll find is the reason we're calling is probably a lot different than the others, and you're probably going to see a bunch of postcards in the mail if you haven't already. We really start with, rather than making you an offer or telling you what we're going to do for you, it's really about understanding your goals and the family's goals, and then kind of leveraging the team we've built to help you reach those goals. So there's a lot of different ways we can work together, and frankly, we don't really care how. We just want to help, and we care that we do work with you. And you didn't say, is there real estate that you guys could use some help with?
Yep, there is.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I know. So you're the executor. Are there co-executors, or who else do you feel like should be a part of this conversation?
Oh, I have 3 siblings
Okay.
that are all a part of it.
Okay. And is everybody on good terms? Everybody's getting along fine and kind of on the same page?
Today, but that can change tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I definitely understand that. We work with a lot of families, and we understand it's a sensitive time, and people can behave strangely. That's why I ask. We want to make sure that we include everybody in the important parts of the conversation. So we can talk about a few things here today, but I'd rather save, anything that has to do with money, especially, for when we can meet up. I do have a spot. I only have one more appointment this week on Friday at 2:00. Would that be a good time for us to get together for a few minutes?
I'll have to look at my calendar and get back to you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead. I'll put you down because our calendar fills quickly. If you can't make Friday at 2:00, just let me know by tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll try to find a different time. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. And could you do me one more favor and make sure that your brother and sister know the time, and feel free to give them my cell phone number if we need to talk about an alternate time.
Okay.
Okay. And real quick, so we're going to do quite a bit of homework between now and the time we meet. I mean, if you got a couple minutes, can I ask you a few questions about the house?
Sure.
And then you've got the rest of the day to talk about real estate. So what I did is I helped you understand who I am, what unique value I can bring that the others can't, how I got your information. I found out there was real estate. I found out who the decision makers were. I found out what the relationship dynamic among the decision makers were. I went straight for the appointment. And I've got the rest of my career to talk about bedrooms, bathrooms, acreage, price, whatever. And the biggest mistake that I see for everybody listening, as real estate professionals, especially ones who have done FSBO or expired, you go straight for the house. And you want to talk about the house or the property. In this, that's the biggest mistake I see happen. You need to go for the people. And once the people trust you and realize you're on their side and you actually are providing a valuable service, then you can talk about the house whenever and forever. But focus on the people and the situation first, and layer in value, showing them where you can be of value and take stress away from them.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Jennifer, you were a very realistic seller too. You slowly came around, and you still kind of ended up lukewarm. So, Chad, with an appointment like that, where she kind of sort of said yes, how soon would you call back to confirm that appointment, or would you just assume?
Well, I would spend another 20 minutes on the phone with her. So
okay.
We would talk about the condition of the home. We would talk about verify the specs that are on public record. We would talk about the finances just at a high level. I'm not going to go too deep. I'm asking a series of questions. And guys, what the role play that we just did should follow almost to the line the probate seller interview sheet that you see in step 3 of Probate Fast Track. So that progression, I sometimes bounce a little, maybe one or two, switch a couple of places, but that sheet will really help you do what I just did with Jennifer. But I'm going to spend at least 10 more minutes on the phone, and we go deeper into this in the mastery, but there's several little tricks that I use to kind of reinforce and continue to build rapport. So hopefully by the end of the call, Jennifer would have been way warmer and more excited about meeting.
Gotcha.
But I want to get at least, and if you guys notice, she did what a lot of sellers do. Well, I'll have to talk to them. Can you call me back? And don't always set a tentative appointment. Even if I gave her permission to cancel, and I asked her to call me if she needed to, but I still set the appointment and she let me. And that was very realistic. That's what everybody will do. And they won't call back and cancel. The thing is, they don't quite trust you enough at the time. They don't know who you are. They're trying to process everything you've just thrown at them, and they just want to go back to their comfort zone. So give them the reins and say, here, you can cancel, but I want to give you this spot because it's probably not going to be there if you ever call me back, and they won't usually. And then just continue to impress them throughout the rest of the call, and that appointment will solidify over the next 15, 20 minutes, and they won't cancel.
Chad, would you expand a little bit, especially for our agents in Florida and California? The significant percentage of these are going to be telephone appointments, and so just explain real quickly your procedure. If you had 3 heirs and it had to be a phone meeting, how would you handle it differently?
So I'm still insistent that I get especially the way Jennifer put it to me. So she wants all three of them. She gave them permission to be in the conversation, and it sounds like it may be a little bit volatile. So there's no way in hell I'm not having that conversation without all three of them being in part of it, because I don't want to be the one that made it explode in their face. So depending on your tech level and your client's tech level, there's three different ways I'll approach it. Personally, I prefer to do it on join.me or GoToMeeting, where I can have the computer screen up. Everybody can see the same exact thing. We're on one conference line. Kind of the next level down, I'll email a PDF of the actual listing package before I leave, and then we'll use a conference line. And then the lowest level, I would say, is, snail mail your listing package to each party, and then have a conference call if, with one or any of them. And there's some times where none of the heirs will be present, so everybody will be on the phone. What I do in that case is I set the appointment, then I get permission to access the property before the appointment. So if I'm meeting with Jennifer on Friday at 2, nobody is in town. Somebody has a key, a property manager, a neighbor, a family member. I'm going to get that key, walk through the house, see the condition, and know what my pricing strategy is before the listing appointment, because typically I do that at the listing appointment, but I want to preview the house before we sit down to talk.
Excellent. Perfect. We have one more person in the queue, guys, and good question, Jennifer. Thank you for participating. We have room for one or two more. If anybody else, just hit *6 and hit 1. So let's go to phone number ending in 1189. You are up.
Okay, can you hear me?
Can hear you great, yeah. Belinda. How are you?
Great. Oh, fine. This is a question even before the call. Do you all recommend that a person get a Google number, or that the person just call you through on your direct line? I'm a realtor as well, so I don't have my voicemail necessarily set up for probates coming through. I typically do expires, but I'm wondering, then it's a personal line as well. So I'm wondering, do you all recommend that, or what are your thoughts on that? And then we can do a role play.
I like Google Voice just because if I miss the call, it emails me and lets me know, and it transcribes a message if I get one. So okay. I always know when my Google Voice line rings, I know it's coming off of a probate letter, and I reserve it kind of exclusively for those letters. So if I get that call prompt, then I know that I've got to put my probate hat on. Because I do so many different things, I try to make sure I know what type of call is coming in.
Okay, that's what my concern was. Okay, and then the other thing is, since we're trying to provide services for the probate, not just going directly for the property, if someone were to call, for example, and they're just trying to pretty much get the services out of you, do you all go that bent, or do you kind of slow that up unless you're actually going to get access to the property and have at least a chance to sell it, fix it up, or whatever you're going to do with the property?
I think that'd be a great thing to role play. Why don't you role play that with Chad? Put him on the spot. See. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, it's Chad.
Oh no, call me.
No, Chad, you asked the question, so I was going to have Chad be the agent and show you how he would handle it.
Okay, but he's going to call me, the prospect.
You're the personal representative. You are the personal representative looking for services, but you don't have real estate.
No, I have real estate, but all I want you to do is just give me the names of the people that can, help me fix it up. Give me the names of the people
Chad,
that.
Then I get it. Then just call her like you would normally, and she'll give you that objection.
Okay. Ring.
Hello.
Hi, I'm trying to reach Belinda Smith.
You got her.
Hey, Belinda. My name's Chad Corbett. I'm a probate expert here in Roanoke, Virginia. And the reason I'm calling, we actually pulled your name from public record. We specialize in helping families who are in the probate process, because we kind of realized there's such a need in the community. So we noticed that you were the executor of an estate, and I just wanted to reach out and kind of help you understand some of the things we can do to maybe help you out, ranging from quick sale if the situation calls for it, to getting the home cleaned out, fixed up, sold for the highest price, and many, many other things. It really starts with us understanding, what the situation is and what your goals are, and then kind of making some suggestions on options that would work for you. Is there any real estate in the estate that you guys need a hand with?
Yeah, we do have some real estate in the estate that we have to deal with, and actually, I was trying to identify some, reputable services, such as, we needed some clean out help, and may have a few things to sell, but not very much. Maybe mostly, donating and things like that. And since you called me, I wondered if you have maybe some contracts or something I can use to do a couple of quick repairs and maybe help clean the place out or something like that. How much would that be?
Sure, that's a big part of kind of the service we provide. So typically, if we're preparing the home for sale, we will first come meet with you and kind of take a look, because we do try to we respect all of our vendors' time, so we try to kind of get a good idea of what it is we need and who we need to bring in and in what order before we make those calls. So in most cases, when you and I meet, we're going, to discuss the real estate. We'll kind of put together a plan and a target date for the personal property for the contractors. And sometimes I even bring those people to the appointment with me. It really just depends on what your timeline is and if you're out of town or in town. You didn't say, do you guys live here in town or are you out of state or?
Yeah, actually I live in town, and we've kind of had preliminary discussions and things like that in the family. And, for right now, we haven't really decided if we're going to sell, if we're going to keep it, maybe a relative will move in. But I do know that we need to get it cleaned out and need a couple of repairs done. Is it possible for you to kind of provide some help with that or provide some vendors for that we can trust?
Yeah, for sure.
Without actually coming. I can make a phone call.
For the clean out, I'm going to have a gentleman named John Doe call you. It should probably be before the end of business today, depending on where he's at in town. And as far as the contractor, help me understand, are we talking about a little bit of work, a lot of work, you don't know? How much of a
skilled handyman type work?
Okay. So in that case, I'm going to have Joe Lifesaver call you. And Joe is the kind of the guy that we use for what we call punch work or the smaller jobs.
Okay.
And again, he should get back to you before the end of the day.
Okay. So in fact,
you guys said you haven't thought about or you haven't decided if you're selling. I mean, if you don't mind me asking, is it because you're not sure what the property's worth or what you could get for it? And is there any way we could help you with that? I mean, we obviously spend a big part of our time is spent doing property analysis, so we can pretty much nail down a value. And working with our contractors, we can show you how to do, spend the least amount of money for the highest return, because we do have a lot of experience renovating homes. I mean, is that something you guys would find value in, or you just think you're not going to sell?
Well, at this point, we're not really clear, because we have some relatives that could do with some housing, but we don't want to let them live there for free. And if it, becomes a thing where we don't feel they're going to be able to live it and pay a decent rent, then we may just want to sell it and just be done with it.
Right. Well, and that's a lot of people start out just where you are. And I'll tell you one thing that I notice in working with families is a lot of people don't realize what they don't realize. So a lot of people don't consider what it might look like to fix the home up a little bit, hire a property manager, and keep it as a long-term rental for the family. A lot of people are intimidated by construction, and they don't realize there could be 30 or 40 grand sitting on the table if you just let our crews get in there and do the work. And so there's a lot of things that there's a lot of, even if it's just to generate ideas, a lot of good reasons for us to sit down with you and kind of show you your options. And I do have just one more spot left on Friday at 2. If you guys want to meet up for 30 minutes, I'll kind of give you an idea of some of the things that I see and, frankly, what I would do if I were in your position. And if you think that, there's any way I can help, then great. And if not, then I'll connect you with the folks that can help.
Okay, but this is no obligation, right? I mean, it's not like we get.
No. We don't listen. We don't get kickbacks from anybody. We don't charge for anything up front. If we're doing what we say we're going to do, we will get paid. And in the case that you don't sell the home, we won't get paid. But I believe in provide value first, right? So if I pay it forward, it'll come back to me somewhere. When you buy your 13 apartment buildings, you'll probably remember my name, I bet.
Okay.
Awesome job. We had some really realistic role plays today. And guys, with your permission, we're going to go about 5 minutes over because we have one more person in the queue, and I don't want to leave anybody's questions unanswered. So next person, this is going to be the last one for today. Phone number ending in 7377. You're up.
Hi, I'm Resurrection, and I'm from Virginia. I'm a realtor. And
Yes,
the first phone call, the role play that you had, it came up that there were multiple people, multiple decision makers. So my question is, do you still, should you ask for the decision makers' information? And if so, could you role play that really quickly of how you would segue into that?
100%.
I did, and I purposely glanced over that in the interest of time. So we'll just kind of pick up there. So I'll go ahead and put you down for Friday at 2:00, and if that changes, just let me know. Listen, so excuse me. In case I can't get a hold of you on Friday, can you mind sharing your siblings' phone numbers? Okay, great. And what about their emails? I'll send out. We live and die by Google Calendar, so if it's okay with you, I'm just going to put us all on a calendar invite. That way, especially if we have to move it, we're all on the same page without having to make 7 phone calls. Can you give me their emails? So I would find just find a reason to, in case somebody doesn't show up or whatever, to get their phone numbers. And then I always use a calendar invite as the way to get the email. And I will send that calendar.
So my question behind that is, in the event that it is a volatile situation and, maybe the person you're talking to on the phone doesn't want to give the information out and says, well, I'm really the primary contact. Everything needs to go through me. And that may or may not be true. How do you sort of navigate through that? Do you just leave it alone and whoever shows up shows up?
Well, why don't you hit me with that? So, listen, Resurrection, I've got one more spot on Friday at 2:00. You think that would be a good time for you and I to meet, and we could dial the other siblings in?
That would work. I think 2:00 is fine for me.
Okay. And you did say you want them to be part of the decisions or no?
They were left the house as well, so they are decision makers, but they're not too responsible with this kind of stuff. So I'm the primary caretaker for the house.
Okay. I understand completely. We work with a lot of families, and I'll tell you one thing that we're very cautious about is meeting with, if there is more than one decision maker, meeting in private with that person. Because I have seen situations, unfortunately I wasn't part of them, but other agents I've seen where, the other family members felt left out or like there was money left on the table, and they will actually contest the will or, break off keys and locks. They'll do anything they can to sabotage a sale. So I'm really interested in not making your situation worse. We try to make situations better, and what I find is if we can all be on the same page, it's usually very smooth, and everybody's, impressed with what we've done, and we all kind of are moving forward together, where if you and I meet and we leave them out, it could make life a little harder for you and me both. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to, if you don't want to make the calls, believe me, I'm happy. If you can give me their phone numbers, I'll call and introduce myself and have this conversation with them.
Okay.
Would you rather do it by phone if everybody's involved, or would you rather everybody meet up in person?
You probably won't get them in person right away. You might want to start on the phone. I'll give you their phone numbers, and if you can get them to show up on time, that'd be fine. Okay, perfect. So I'll become the hub here. So you give me their numbers. And one last thing before, does everybody use email? We try to send out a calendar invite just so we make sure that everybody sees the time that we're meeting. Do you have email addresses for them too? I have a couple of my siblings' email addresses, but a few of them actually don't use email. Okay. Well, fair enough. Not everybody does. If you just give me the ones that do, and I'll make sure they get the calendar invite. Okay.
And then once we got through that, then I would say, oh, and real quick before I let you go, we're going to do a lot of research. Can you tell me about the house? And I'll take you down through that conversation and warm things back up, because you can almost feel the tension there. So I definitely am not going to get off the phone with you until things have warmed back up between us and we kind of cleared the air of that kind of awkward family situation. And we'll do that by talking about the house, and I'll get you to tell me a story, and you'll laugh 17 or 28 times, and then we'll hang up and I'll meet you on Friday.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really thank you to everybody who participated today. Really good, realistic situations, realistic role plays. We really appreciate your participation. And I always like to end all of these calls by challenging you. You took the time to be here today. So please take one thing, one idea, one thing you learned from the role plays, from Chad, from the conversations, put it into practice and come back on our next call and share it with the group. And just a reminder, less than 24 hours from now, our open forum mastermind call is same phone number at 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. So you guys have a great rest of the day, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Take care. Thank you for being here.